Hello, friends. Good evening. This is Raj Bala from the hotel industry. I have been in the industry since 1986. Now it's almost 35 years since I have started my career in the hotel industry. I started my hotel industry as a front office assistant in 1986 with Muscat Holiday in Oman. I was interviewed in Bombay by one Mr. Chris Linney, who was the human resources director who had come from Brussels, Belgium. During the interview, they asked me so many questions, but I was very open. I told them that I am not a hotelier, neither I have studied the hotel industry management. That time I had passed only the engineering. I was a mechanical engineering. I've done in Pondicherry in 1978. Then we got shifted to Bombay. I worked as an office assistant before I could start anything in the hotel industry. In Bombay, I worked for about 3-4 years from 78 to 82, 83. Then I came across this opportunity. I saw an advertisement like they are looking for some people for a new hotel to be opened in Muscat. I never knew anything about, not even a in the industry. Yet I went. I said they basically said that we want people to converse well in English and well presentable and things like that basically. So I went for the interview. So he asked me a couple of questions, nothing technical. He asked me questions like who's the VIP of the hotel. So I thought an important person in a hotel is a GM. So I said general manager. That was not the right answer. He said no, GM could be the right person, a VIP for the employees, but for the guest, GM is not the VIP. For us, guest is the VIP. So for a hotel, when somebody says who is the VIP of a hotel, every single guest who walk in a hotel is a VIP, very important person. That is the first lesson I learned from Mr. Krishlini, I still remember, but I was passed. He said that you can speak very well in Hindi and you are from Bombay, you are well presentable, and then you can speak very fluently in English, so you are selected. You please deposit your passport and then wait for the visa to come. So this took about a month and two. So I flew to Muscat with one Mr. Feroz Khan and Miss Sonia. So three of us had taken the flight arranged by one of the agents in Andheri, Bombay. So we flew into Muscat and somebody came to pick us up. I'm telling right from 86 until 2001, 2021, how I sailed in the industry. So later we will go precisely about hotel industry, details of it, what are the star categories, how it is categorized, what are the departments of the hotel, and what are the trainings I have taken over. I started the hotel industry as a front office assistant, but within 13 years of time, in 1999, I became a resident manager of one of the hotels of the same group, owned by Sheikh Mubarak Bahwan for Sur International Hotel. Earlier it was called as MB and Sons. Later it was called as Sur International Hotel. So I worked in the front office for about 10 years, from 86 to 96. Right from basic, I was in the telephone operator's room for the first 6 months. Then they promoted me to be a front office assistant, but I was not hired for an operator. But they said that if you are a hotelier, then you need to know the accent of the people who are talking to you, who are on the phone. So you need to first understand the accent, the language, because here Muscat, Oman is an international point where a lot of people call first. But you need to understand and follow up their questions. You should be able to answer them. They will ask how many rooms do you have rooms available. They will ask something about the reservations. They will talk about the check-in time, procedures and things like that. So somebody will teach you when you come to front office. First you start attending the phones. Like I was there, and then only two of us, me and Nihal Jai Singh, two of us, he was a Sri Lankan and I was an Indian. So we used to do 12 hours a shift in a day, only two of us. We ran at least 6 months, only two of us, no break, no holiday, no fundas. 12 hours, 8 to 8 in the evening, and I used to come and take over from 8 in the evening to next morning 8. This went on for 6 months, friends. Can you believe? This is the hard work we have put in the beginning. 12 hours every day, no chutti, no weekend off, no like fun and fundas, like no weekend holidays, and no Ramadan. Every day we used to work. So they saw the management is also keeping an eye on the employees, like dedicated people who are sincere and who are very well behaving and also learning. So the first person who resigned from the front office, who I think was Miss Sonia, She wanted to join her husband in Canada or USA. So there was a vacancy. And in Oman and Middle East, what happens is people who come in with a visa for a replacement, they need to look for somebody again from Bombay based, employees. The HR services are not available. I'm talking about 35 years before. It's very seldom. So they have to again write back to the agents to look for somebody who are experienced and things like that. So what they do is they used to pick up people from the unit, from the same hotel, who are interested in working elsewhere at a higher cadre. I was a telephone operator, not fired. I want not hired. But then the first 6 months they put me there just to learn the industry, the norms. So then they promoted me immediately to front office as a basic assistant. There I met my industry guru, I would proudly say, was Mr. Feroz Khan, who is from Bombay, with whom I flew out to Muscat, who taught me ABC of the hotel industry, rather not the hotel industry, precisely the front office operations, because he used to be a receptionist, senior receptionist in Holiday Inn in Bahrain. He was there for about 8 years of experience. He was sent here he was a senior receptionist, then he was promoted as a FOS, we call it as. It's called front office supervisor. Please bear with me, I will keep talking about the jargons, the mnemonics, the short forms, the abbreviations of the hotel industry, where you need to follow. Hoteliers will easily follow, but for the people, this platform is for a hotelier, non-hotelier, employees, non-employees, who have finished 10th or 12th, who want to learn about the hotel, rather than going to 3 years in the college. If they want, they can do so. But if you listen to my platform, where this YouTube platform is going to be called as RSGN, that's a brand I've kept. RSGN Hotel Heroes. Everyone in the hotel is a hero. So I have named that, and I have a training institute called Hospitality Heroes, which is in Bangalore. I'm trying to open one in Chennai, in Pune, and in Bombay. And now coming back to the point, Mr. Feroz Khan taught me everything. Basically we call us in the system. Every hotel follow a system. Now you go everywhere, there are systems like Word, Excel. I'm just telling you about the Microsoft, but in the hotel industry we call it as the system operation, HO, we call it a hotel operation system, we call it as. We used to have individually, in Holiday Inn will have their own style of all the backups, feed in software prepared for us. Any other brand, if it is a Marriott, if it is a Intercontinental, it is a Holiday Inn Express, or any other brand will have their own reservation system. Holiday Inn reservation system was called as Holidex. Any other Holiday Inn, any other hotel will have their own reservation system. So I used to be there in the reception for 3 hours in the evening, even after finishing the telephone operator's room. 8 to 8 I used to finish, go down, have my dinner, or go home, have a shower, relax for about half an hour, come back to the hotel with the uniform of the front office, because the telephone operator's uniform was different, front office uniform was different. With the waistcoat we used to have a beige and a green color, but in the telephone operators only a trouser and a white shirt and a tie would be enough. So I used to change and come from 9 o'clock to 11, 11:30, 12. I used to be with Mr. Feroz Khan, and he taught me basically how to do the first job he gave is distribution of the bills. What happens is we used to have 123 rooms in Muscat Holiday Inn. So people, when they use the laundry, when they use the coffee shop, when they use the restaurant, there will be we call it as check. Check in other terms is general term, in the layman's term is check is CHEQUE, but in the hotel industry a bill is called check, CHECK, which is a bill basically. We have our own terms. So he used to post, because in the beginning, at least for a couple of months, he did not allow me to touch the screen or the computer, because he said you would make mistake, because one mistake you make, if you cross post instead of 321 to the room 312, at the time of checkout we'll have a lot of problems. We will come to that point a little later. So he was very cautious, not giving me posting. We call it as posting, if somebody has used a coffee in the room from room service, so the coffee bill would come for about Indian money about 150 rupees. So I need to go to the system, open up, and then we go to the financial package. Reservation is different, check-in registration is different, cashier's funda is different, that is the third one. Then checkout procedures, it goes on like that, night auditing and things like that. So we used to go to the cashier's folio, we have to close, we have to open the 312, then go to the number from 1 to 99. They would give a code number for posting. For example, room revenue will be posted with 001. which is like 3 digits. Instead of that, first number is 1, and second would be taxes, room taxes, then things like that. So the coffee shop used to have a code like 34, room service would have some 37, and beverage, food and beverage would have 66, 69, some sort of code we have to remember, but in the beginning they would keep a small number. So anyway, this is all technical term I'm talking about. Let me not get into that first. Today being the first day, I'm speaking in English for the people who will follow English, for the hotel industry to know. I also started this in Tamil as RSGN Virindombal. You can also, people who want to follow the same thing in Tamil, please punch in YouTube as RSGN. R stands for Rajkumar, S for Shakuntala, G for Gayatri, and N for Neelambikai, my family members. RSGN Virindombal, that's a Tamil one. I've already spoken in Tamil in length. Now the second one would be coming now soon. This is the English one for people to follow. Now slowly, after I finished talking about the hotel, how it started, where it started, I'm going back in 10th century, 12th century, much before that, AD and BC, before Christ appeared, and this called something was called a biblical, where the Bible used to come after Christ was born and things like that. We have to go back to that era to know how the hotel industry started, from where it got evolved. A lot of things to happen. So we'll slowly start, today I will just stay finishing. I will tell you where it started. It started somewhere precisely without any date on AD or BC. It started somewhere first in Greece. The Greeks used to start a small huts or tents outside a common place where people travel from one place to another. Those time no cars and no carts and things, like people used to walk. If you really go back to billions of years, how human thing got evolved from a monkey, or how a human being got this thing. It took about 8 billion years for you and me to appear the way we are now. You can, in Tamil you can read books written by Mr. Madan called Kimu Kipi or Vandargal Vendrargal and things like that. So let me not go back to that era, but then we can talk about now. So Greeks started the small huts like a tent to sleep, stay, and then continue the next day morning. So when it becomes in the evening, those times there was no electricity and things like that. So they used to have the chimneys and oil lamp. So they used to stay there, and then because of the weather, they used to go under a shelter. They used to sleep. So they used to keep erect about 600 numbers for the whole city. For example, they are traveling from one city to another. On the way, they will come for a rest area where they can go and sleep in this. Earlier it was started even without money, under humanitarian thing. People who organized that area, who used to own or who used to be there, they used to give them free of charge, and they used to give them water, food and things like that. At later stage, very very later, the same thing was called as motels. Now there is a difference between hotel and motel. Motel is something which is there available in between two cities. When you keep driving or traveling from 200 to 300 kilometers from one point to another, you will find a motel where you stop over. You will find a lot of such motels in English movies, American movies. You will find a motel with about 10 rooms, 12 rooms, with very cheap, like it's about $20, $50, $10, where you just go sleep. You will have a clean bed and a bed sheet. You may not have even a restaurant there. Probably you have to carry your own, or maybe those time they never used to keep this tea and coffee making trays, what we find now in the hotel rooms. But those times, it never used to appear. So they used to just stop over outside the motel. There used to be a small kiosk where they used to sell the biscuits and sandwiches and things like that. So it used to be like that. So just go back about 20 centuries and then think of the stands outside, without electricity, without water, food. They used to carry their own food. This is how it started. Slowly the system spread to France, it went to Egypt, and then it jumped all over from India to Japan and to UK. See the crisscross. Greek, then it went to Rome, it went to Egypt, it jumped to Japan to UK, then it came back to Asia, to India and things like that. Indian style was different. Let me also punch in or bring in Indian system. India, if you look into the old houses, outside there used to be a small rest place, we call in Tamil Thinnai. Along with the house, they used to make where at least 3 to 4 people can comfortably sleep on Thinnai, where the owner of the house used to feed them on a humanitarian ground. We call it as Atithi Devo Bhava, yeah, Virundombal, like, we call it, we give them food, and they used to prepare food, give it to those people who go from one place to another or from one village to another. They used to make them rest and then give them namaskaram, they used to give them seva, then after feeding them they used to go and eat. So this was once upon a time without money, out of love and affection, not affection but out of respect. So this converted later, slowly, if you see any of the houses in village now, you will not find Thinnai. Maybe in some pockets of Tamil Nadu you will find, otherwise no. So this started from that area, slowly it comes to 12th century. This is how in the Google, if you go and browse, in Google you will find this 12th century onward, they have a precise cut-off times where those tents became small houses where two people can sleep inside. Now a family of 4 can sleep at no toilet, no other facilities inside. Around 500 yards from those areas, they used to build a common toilet areas and then they used to construct. But in the 12th century, there is one surprising factor. When they thought about a hotel, sort of a huge place where 100 to 200 people can get inside and stay, the first thing they built in that hotel was, just take a guess, not a room, not a coffee shop, not a restaurant, not a reception, not a GM's cabin, not a telephone operator. In that old structure, they built first a toilet, because those time it is used to be outside the building or outside those tents. Like in India, if you go to village in Tamil Nadu, being me a Tamilian, if you talk about that, we used to go, ladies used to go post, like, after 5, 6 in the evening in the dark, they used to go in bunch, and then, like, they used to attend the nature's call, like, they used to go and then finish off their thing. But men in the early morning, they used to go at 4, 5 o'clock before they could be going to their farms and for their work. They used to go early morning to open areas where indirectly somewhere you can call it, it gets mixed with the soil, it becomes a fertilizer's point of view. It is like, could be a good thing for the I'm not talking about the paddy or any other thing, for any other plants to grow. Even they used to collect all those cow dungs and things like that in village pockets. They used to go and distribute all over the farms for the plants to grow. So this is how it started earlier. So in India there was nothing called toilets building, but whereas Europe and then in the Scandinavian European countries or in America and in London and Paris and New York and Japan and things, first they built, because they never used to be this open air fundas. They used to have a closed shower and the closed toilet, and then WC, we call it as water and cess. So this is how they started first, and then they thought of this also was built outside first. They didn't think that could be a hotel where there could be rooms and inside the room there could be a toilet. No, first it was built specially only for people, 50 people to go as a toilet users, like, goes to. And then slowly, like, it developed in 16th century and 17th century. So there is a big time. You can just go into 16th century, what happened, like, they found out a whole building, how everybody can go and dine. It started, the food and beverages started at the end part. Whereas the Indian, our way of hospitality is, first we used to give the food and beverage and then place to sleep. This is our funda, this was our nature, this is our culture. But in Europe, they never had this culture of giving them food and beverage first. They used to give them only place to sleep and for the toilet. See, there is a difference. So then they were growing in their own style, they grew faster, whereas we were very slow. In our country, it all started only in the 19th century. It dates like 1859, 1924. You can say from 1900 to now we are 2021. 120 years plus, we grew from where to 7-star hotels within India, which we will discuss in length in the next episode of every Saturday. You will find this RSGN Hotel Heroes. Please follow me, subscribe. We have a small benefit for you. First 100 subscribers to this platform, we will pick up 5 winners to get dining in their own area, in their like cities, small area, towns. Dinner for 2 or dinner for 1. If the husband and wife both are members, then you need to write to us on 6369931988. That is 636993198 is the mobile number where you can send me small messages. But in the platform, please comment, subscribe, ring the bell button. You know what to do, and be a member and be with me. This is Raj Bala, and see ya.